welcome to a new Trance design. Today we're going to be making something I feel not a lot of people know how to make, and that's going to be a core that's going to be synthesized. So if you don't know what a chore or a core, however you pronounce it is, if you ever go to a church or if you ever go to orchestral, they may have a group of people, and it's really it's combined with females, males, and each one, like, certain groups have their own pitch in their voice. So we have like low ones, high ones, and so forth. So there's ways you can sample a chore, or there's a way of synthesizing it so it sounds more electronic. Um, Personally, I don't really like the electronic way, the EDM way, of just synthesizing it. It doesn't give the effect it's supposed to, but to each their own. So today we're going to be learning how to create a chore, just like Armin Van Buuren has created for some of his tracks. Okay, so a core is really not that hard to create. It's all going to be, it's all going to be in the waves you choose. So today we're going to be using just 2 waves, and we're going to be using 3 oscillators, I believe. And it's going to be an easy tutorial today, and this is the same as creating a pad in a way as well. It's just the way we chose the sounds. So for oscillator A1 in part A, we are going to go into the Q pulse, and the Q pulse is a variant of the pulse, which is another term for a square. So the Q pulse characteristics tend to sound a little bit it's more flat, it's more small, but it has more of a Dutchy sound to it, and it's really popular whenever you're creating Dutch sounds to use a Q pulse. But today we're going to be using it for our lower part here. So we're going to be using a Q pulse with 8 voices down an octave, and we're going to detune it by 4.33. Okay. And once we have that, we're going to go into amp envelope A. And now the reason I say creating a chore is just like creating a pad is because a chore is a core or a chore or whatever. It doesn't come out straight away. It has a mellow feeling to it. And the way you achieve that through pads or through any sound is you have to have a decently high attack. And 2.75 is not that high, but it's okay. It's there, but it's not going to come out boom, fast. High decay, high sustain, and a high release. I've explained what ADSR is in episode 2, so if this is the first video you're watching by me, I suggest you go see episode 2 after this video and get yourself familiar with ADSR. To me, it's like the basis of synthesis. Every synthesizer known to man, even the samplers, are gonna use ADSR, and they're gonna use it in so many ways. Like here, we're using it for amp, and ADSR is just an envelope. So what you can do is you can route envelopes to every little parameter in Silent 1. Let's say we want to route it to the pitch and so forth. And you need to understand ADSR in order to know what the effect is going to be of how much you apply the envelope to that amount. Okay, so enough of that. Next we go into oscillator A2, where we will put a saw wave with 8 voices in up an octave. And we're turning the retrigger off for both of these. Detunement is going to be at 3.29 for the saw. Okay. So once we have that, we go into part A, filter A. Input select A, we're going to have a low pass filter, 24 dB. Our cutoff is going to be set to 1.00 hertz, so it's going to be all the way down. Resonance all the way down, and a little bit of drive at 0.57. Next thing we're going to be doing is we are going to be going into the filter control, where we're going to be putting the cutoff a little bit before 12 at 11, or 72.20 hertz. Resonance at 0.00. Key track, no, and no warm drive. And I explained what key track was in Sound Design Monday, but I'll explain it for Trance Design as well. And pretty much what key track does is that it opens up the filter, so the more you have of it, the more your filter will open up when you press the note. So if I were to, go right now, click, open this up, that's all it does. That's what key track does. Okay, so once we have that, we're going to go into part B, where we're going to be repeating a Q pulse at 8 voices with 1 octave down. We're going to be putting a detunement of 4.52 to it, and that should be it. And amp envelope B, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting the attack at 2.75, the release at 5.44, sustain all the way up, and decay all the way up. Next thing, we're going to go into filter B, where we're going to be putting a low pass 24 dB as well, with the cutoff all the way down, resonance down, drive down, and 24 dB type as well. So once we have that, we're almost done with the sound. We just need to apply the chorus effect, some reverb, and then we're going to be putting a little bit of macros here. I'll get into this area of Silent 1 so you get used to it as well. And we'll talk a little bit about the LFOs and how we can use them to do neat stuff with the core. Okay, so we're going to go into the chorus section, and we are going to put the dry and wet at 58.57% with a delay of 14.56. We're going to up the rate on the chorus so we can get that effect to 2.09 hertz. The depth of the chorus is at 39.05. This is going to be in dual mode, so more. Chorus feedback at 0.00, and the chorus width at 70.0. So we don't really want the chorus effect to be wide. You kind of want it in the center so we get kind of like the effect of it. We can actually hear it, and it doesn't get drowned out by the reverb. And next we go into the reverb, where the width is going to be lower at 59.52%, dry and wet at 62, reverb size at 6.40, and the size, all it's going to do is the higher you put the size, the bigger the reverb is going to be. Compared to like reverbs in Ableton, this goes to the right while Ableton's goes to the left, and it's just the idea of that. Reverb pre-delay is 100 milliseconds, so before the reverb starts, there's already going to be some sort of reverb. The dampness of it is at 4.00, so the higher the dampness, the lower frequencies the reverb's going to be in. So a reverb is a reverb generally is in high frequencies, but you can put dampness up, and what that's going to do is, if I were to bring in EQ8 right now and I'd show you the spectrum, usually a reverb is going to be in this area, but with the dampness increase, it's going to start moving to this area as well. And the bad thing about that is that if you don't know how to tame a reverb in the lower areas, then it can really muddy up your mix really fast. So it's not recommended you put dampness all the way up, but it's okay if you want to add some kind of low end to your reverb. Okay, so once we have that, now we're going to go into Misc 1 and Misc 2. Pretty much what Misc 1 and Misc 2 are is what I like to call kind of like macros. Here we're going to be activating this by the mod wheel. So I'm assuming you guys are going to be using this right here on your keyboard. So here we have the cutoff. We're going to route this to cutoff AB, which is going to route it to these two. And what's going to happen is we're going to put the cutoff all the way up. So what's going to happen is now my mod wheel is going to act as the cutoff. So when I have it down, no sound's going to come out. But as soon as I start moving the mod wheel up, and there we go. So that's what that's going to do. It's really just a cool thing. And we also have a Misc 1 for the key track, which is going to be routed to cutoff AB as well. And we're going to put that down at negative 2.10. And for this one, we're going to put it all the way up. So, oops, dropped my phone. So now I've explained what envelopes are. And give me a sec. My phone alarm went off. So I've explained what envelopes are. Now we have the LFO section of Silent 1. Now, an LFO in terms is just an knob turner, just like an envelope is, and it can be routed to a lot of parameters, and it's going to change the parameters. The key difference between an LFO and the envelope is that LFOs go by rate, so the envelope works every time you press a key, while the LFO works while you have if you press a key and you hold it, the LFO is still going to be working. With the mod envelope, it's not that way. When you press a key, it just activates once, and then it's waiting for you to press another key again. So that's the difference here. And also LFOs work with waves, and what I mean by that is it's just looking at the picture, honestly. Like if we have a sine pretty much what that's going to do is it's going to just show you that it's going to gradually increase, gradually decrease, and so forth. With a square wave, it's more of a instant kind of change and so forth. So pretty much those are it. The big one to use is always going to be your sine wave. But the key thing here is it's what you're trying to achieve. So right now what I'm going to be showing you guys is I can route this to volume AB at a rate of, let's say, 1.4, and I can lower the volume to get that sidechain effect. So here what's going on is the LFO is being activated by a sine, and you're going to hear it gradually come in and out. Now if I were to change this to a square, it's more punchy because it's more instant. It's not gradual like a sine. So there you can see all the effects. So a neat thing about the LFO is that you can use it as a sidechaining tool. A lot of times people don't like to route their sidechain to the kick. Let's just say the kick has a really long tail. So the whole purpose of a sidechain is to kind of get that pumping effect and to kind of give room for the kick so it can be heard in all these clutter mess and trance. So you can either do it this way. Another thing you can do with LFOs that's really, really neat is that you can route it to, let's say, a cutoff and get the same effect, or you can route it to a pitch, or you can route it to certain things like the resolution and sort. If we route it to the pitch, I really don't know what the effect is going to be. Let's see. And generally, here's a tip, is that when you're routing an LFO to a pitch, you really want it at a high rating unless you're going for that sound. The reason is because when it goes fast, it creates sort of like, imagine there's a ball going back and forth in the room, and you're closing the walls in on the ball, so it starts hitting faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. So just see it the same way as the pitch is going faster and faster and faster. So the faster it goes, the more we're not gonna hear the change in pitch, and the more we're gonna hear the note. But the effect it gives is that the note sounds a little bit more distorted in a way, and it has more harmony to it because you have the pitch moving really fast. So if we were to do this now, let's put the pitch at 164. Now you can see the effect it gives. So that's the effect of the pitch, the LFO acting with the pitch. Mod envelopes can do the same thing. They can work with the pitch. Personally, I really don't use them. I feel like, unless I need to create a sound, then it's going to be used. But hopefully this tutorial was helpful for you guys. Hopefully it kind of explains a little bit more about LFOs. Next week, or maybe this week, I'll put up another video and we'll go into Massive and work with their LFOs, because their LFOs have way more freedom to do a lot of things. Anyways, guys, this has been Trance Design. I hope you guys learned a couple of things. If you like the sound, you can download it from my page at Semworld Music on Facebook. So it's facebook.com/SemWorldMusic. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, like, and I'll see you guys next week.